Everyone, now let's talk about a debilitated moon, the moon in Scorpio. If you have this placement in your natal chart, what this means and what these lessons that you have to learn in this life. Of course, this is just a general reading. We are not talking about a cancellations of a debilitated planet in this videos. It's just a general reading of what is the moon and why it is debilitated in the signs of Scorpio. Now, the moon itself is represents the mind. The moon, it also represents a nourishment of the mother. It also represents the happiness within the home because the moon itself is the karaka of the fourth house. Happiness within home environments. Now, when someone's have a weak moon, as these illustrations, you can see everything seems like what? Empty. Everything seems gloomy, dark. Where is everyone's? That is what the moon debilitated feels like. And usually, because I have friends, close friends, not only one or two, three of them, speaking from experience, and don't want to mention their names, but when it comes to the way that they talk, people with a debilitated moon, they always have these energies of being really talkative, expressive in nature. Weird, isn't it? Because now, if you're looking at the illustrations that there is, seems like it's nothing. It's empty. It's like dead zone. But why? Why do people having these placements of the moon talk so much? It's because the feelings of being so close in an environment that is so isolated. They want to express that feeling because the feeling itself is also representing the moon. The moon is Jala planet. And because the environment is so empty, they just talk and talk and talk. I'll use an example. Someone who have this moon in Scorpio, Andrew Tate. You see how he talks. He talks quite quick and a lot. That's what the moon in Scorpio. Now the thing about the moon being weak in the natal chart. Yes, displacement, it is intense. It is giving a lot of karmic baggage. And usually when someone have this placement, they have to struggle a lot. Mentally, they are pretty much isolated. It seems like the world doesn't know what they want and what they need. And because of that misunderstanding, the nourishment, because this issue, it is linked to the nourishment of the mother. It doesn't mean that the mother doesn't give enough nourishment. It does. Sometimes it does. But because the mother might have that struggle, you might growing up, someone's have these moons weak in the natal chart. The mother growing up might dealing with her own problems, like so much that you just don't understand why and what happened to the mother. So it does takes away the attentions instead of like focusing on the child. The mother becomes so solely focused on herself. And because of this reason, of course, this is not always happen, but because the mind is so lonely, in some way, the person's having these moons in Scorpio, they will end up like doing what? Coping, coping with something. They can call it basically with substance. Substance can be with anything really, with coffee, cigarettes, It doesn't always have to be with a strong substance like alcohol or something like that, but it does sometimes. If there is connections to a malefic planet, then it can enhance the tendency to do more bad. Now the lessons about this having moon in Scorpio, they just have to end up really accepting that life, not all the problem is because of them. Because the moon in Scorpio, they tend to think that the problems that everyone is having, it's because of them. Or perhaps, the inner circle itself, like blaming the family perhaps. But the thing here, it's not. So do not blame yourself. And also, if you have someone having a debilitated moon, just remember this. These people, they are just lacking of what? Of a motherly nourishment. So when you have someone having a debilitated moon, give them nourishment. Nourishments of what? Of emotional support. Because they lack of this. They lack of this kind of nourishment. And they end up hurting themselves sometimes by doing certain things that is damaging to their own health. Every debilitations planet in the natal chart, they're always looking at what? At the exaltation sign. When the moon debilitated in Scorpio, they always, that 7 aspect goes to Taurus. So people with debilitated moon, they're always looking at the Taurus sign. They're looking at the stability. Stability of what? Of the environments. Again, the moon is the karaka of the 4th house. So the moon looking at the stabilities of the homes, stability of the mind. But on the positive side of this, having moon in Scorpio, if someone is channeling the energy of that Scorpio with learning astrology, science, like occult science, or just learning spirituality, instead of like abusing substance, then we'll learn a lot from dispositions of learning these hidden things. But because the mind is so scattered, they usually just don't want to deal with it. So if you or someone have a debilitated moon, tell them when they feel life is so hard, just do meditation. Just do meditation. And when they do this, it will bring that immense peace. Well, anyway, guys, thank you for watching.